New research is finally showing us ways that we can actually detox microplastics, and this is not just blocking exposure, this is actually mobilizing plastics trapped inside cells for years, which no other study has shown before. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this yourself and clear these nasty microplastics, which are linked to all kinds of horrible diseases. And if you don't know me, my name is Drew, and I reversed multiple autoimmune diseases, including rheumatoid arthritis and POTS, and on this channel, I teach you all how to do the same. So jumping into the video, microplastics and polyphenol alkaloids, or PFAs, are found in the blood, the liver, the kidneys, and the brain. So literally all across the body. I would go as far to say that PFAs and microplastics are in every cell of our body, because if it's getting to the brain, that means it's crossing the blood-brain barrier, which is highly filtered. And so when it reaches the brain, it's actually linked to dementia. It's directly correlated with dementia. And also, when it's found in arteries, it actually doubles your risk for a heart attack, a stroke, or to die early. And so it's actually even tied to autoimmunity and clogging your kidney and your liver, leading to fibrosis and organ stress. And so hopefully you're seeing like how important this stuff is and how important it is to actually get it out of your body. But this isn't even the worst part, because it actually has the potential to infertilize the entire population and basically like wipe us out or decrease the population by like 90%, because there have been multiple studies on rats and on humans that have found that 100% of testes have microplastics in them. And this is horrible because another study done on fish found they basically took a tank of fish and like dumped BPA in the water, and basically they did studies on the fertility of each generation of fish. So the first generation was mostly fine. They had a bit of a lowered fertility amount, but not too bad. Okay, so they left them in there for 2 weeks, took them out, and then those children of the BPA waterfish were actually like 50% infertile. And then the generation after that generation of fish was like 90% infertile. And so if we continue this BPA exposure, we're affecting our genetics and we're causing our children to be more infertile significantly. So by acting now and actually like detoxing this stuff, you might be able to fix your future generations and help your grandchildren to actually not be infertile and continue the human race. So basically, for years, the only detox advice was just to sweat more. But this new study on this compound called sulforaphane, which comes from sprouts of cruciferous vegetables, flip this around and actually show that we can double how much we detox. So basically, the pathway for this looks something like this. So let me share my screen. So basically, what happens is when you eat broccoli sprouts or cruciferous vegetable sprouts, and you want to make sure they're sprouts because it increases the actual amount of sulforaphane by like 100 times. So yeah, definitely just sprout or supplement. And so basically, these vegetables have something called glucoraphanin, uh, and this mixes with myrosinase from another part of the plant. So they have inside each cell, they have myrosinase and they have glucoraphanin, and when you chew this or cut it or break it down, these two mix and become sulforaphane. They aren't like that originally, but when you chew and stuff, it shifts into sulforaphane. And so this is where it gets interesting, because sulforaphane actually binds to this thing in your cells called keep1. And so basically, keep1 is this protein that keeps in NRF2. And so what NRF2 does is it modifies your genes, and specifically it is trying to bind to the ARE, the antioxidant response element, which is responsible for making glutathione and acetylcysteine, and basically it just stimulates all the genes that make antioxidants, all these different forms of antioxidants all across the body. And so basically, sulforaphane binds to this keep1, which is really important because basically this keep1 is stimulated whenever it's stressed out. And basically, what sulforaphane is it stimulates this stress, which is important. It sounds bad that you're stressing your body, but it's good because It's something called a hormetic stress, which is good for you, just like sunlight. Sunlight has UVB, which is a hormetic stress. It breaks down your collagen, but it makes you stronger and actually helps you stimulate to produce more collagen, which is what all these people forget to mention when they say that sunlight gives you wrinkles and stuff, is it actually stimulates collagen, even though it breaks it down in the moment, it stimulates it in the long term. And just like polyphenols, those are also a hormetic stress. And exercise. Exercise is a perfect example of how you can think of hormetic stress. When you exercise, you're giving yourself oxidative stress, you're ripping your muscles, but you're actually helping yourself even though you're damaging yourself by getting stronger and helping you become more resilient. So sulforaphane acts in the same way by binding to this keep and then releasing this NRF2 to help you produce more antioxidants. And this is super, super important because plastics actually block the keep one, which is horrible. So plastics are increasing your oxidative stress, but they're also blocking the pathway to reduce oxidative stress. So yeah, you can just see how evil plastics are. And so this just leads to increased detox. And to stack on top of that, we also have a ton of other benefits just in this giant graph. It blocks a bunch of different horrible autoimmune stimulating stuff like cytokines and stuff like that. It helps your autophagy and protein cleanup, which, if you don't know, autophagy is cells basically eating themselves and becoming more efficient and clearing out waste. And so these cells are just becoming more powerful and building up resilience. And so, what we didn't know, and what this new study shows that is super interesting, it's very important. This is how it actually cleans out the plastics, is that it leads to the stimulation of TFEB. And so, TFEB is another enzyme that goes into your gene and it tells your genes, hey, let's clean up these cells. Let's empty out our lysosomes, which are like lysosomes. You can think of them as like the trash bag of the cell. And so let's clean out these lysosomes and let's clear out the microplastics from them. And so it starts dumping out the lysosomes and gets these microplastics out finally, from where you can actually start to detox microplastics. We know we detox microplastics in our stool, and so once we get it in the bloodstream, we can actually help to clear it out of our body. So it's via this same mechanism that led us to see the highest level of microplastics ever seen in a lab. So if you want to actually actually be fertile and like not have dementia and heart disease, you should start actually detoxing your microplastics. And just a quick tip for any of y'all still watching, you can actually stimulate TFEB even more if you just fast. Doing fasting also stimulates autophagy, which leads to this TFEB and lysosome dumping. So now, while you're doing your sulforaphane detox, you want to actually maximize the detox because there's a lot of things that can go wrong while you're detoxing. So if you want to maximize it, you want to pair it with gooey soluble fibers. So soluble fibers help to basically block the amount of air surface area that these plastics have. So like basically fiber basically does nothing. That's basically what fiber does. We've been told this fiber lie that it's like the best thing ever made. But honestly, fiber basically its only function is that it just sits there. And so that's why it reduces like insulin, is because it just blocks sugar from being absorbed fast. That's why like basically all its benefits are just because it sits there and blocks things from being absorbed. But if you actually have a healthy diet, that's actually bad for you because you want stuff that you're eating to be absorbed. It's only when you're unhealthy that you don't want what you eat to be absorbed. Like for example, if I'm healthy and I'm eating like a high nutrient dense diet, that fiber is still going to block the nutrients that I'm eating. It's only when I'm eating unhealthy stuff like sugar and like McDonald's that I want the fiber to block it. But in this case, you want to eat fiber because it's going to block the microplastics from being reabsorbed. And so normally I don't push for high fiber diets for that reason, but in this case it's good. And then second thing you want to do is make sure your detox pathways are open. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because I just made a video on this that you can go watch, and it's pretty deep. But basically, you want to make sure that your liver and your gallbladder and your cellular health are all in on check, that they're all cleaned out. That way, you're not basically just reabsorbing the microplastics, because if any of these are backed up, you're doing nothing. You're just causing yourself a bunch of pain and inflammation for nothing because you can't actually get it out of your body. And so and so when you're actually taking this sulforaphane, you want to use it like exercise or in short bursts. You don't want to take it all the time because you're just going to desensitize your cells to the sulforaphane, and you're going to it can actually lead to negative outcomes. Like if your antioxidant system is always turned on, you can actually help grow certain cancers in your body, which is obviously horrible. So that's why I say it's best to use in short bursts while actively mobilizing plastics. You don't want to use it all the time. This is just while you're trying to detox plastics. So, like 3 to 5 days per week while you're detoxing plastics, then stop, let your body clear out what it pushed out. And then in the long term, you just want to run occasional cycles, like a 1 to 2 week microplastic detox, like every couple months or every like half year or quarter of a year, something like that, just to make sure that you're not accumulating toxins over time. And so all of this is basically useless if you're not actually cutting your inflow, cutting like how much plastics you're taking in. So I'm just going to really quick go over all of the ways that you need to stop poisoning yourself with these plastics. Basically, first thing you need to realize is anything that touches you, anything that you ingest in any way, breathe, drink, eat, all those things, you need to make sure that it is plastic free. So you want to make sure you're using a reverse osmosis filter. That's the only way to go. Don't use these really cheap, useless like Brita filters and stuff like that. They basically have like no effect on the actual water quality. If you can't get a reverse osmosis filter, Berkey is okay, but it's like not as good as reverse osmosis. And then you also want to just throw away all your cutting boards and like your plastic cooking stuff. Like I can't believe we actually have like plastic spoons and plastic spatulas. Like you're literally just poisoning whatever you're eating with so many microplastics. It's crazy. So just throw all of your cookware that is plastic away, especially if it's supposed to go in hot stuff. I don't care like how much it costs you. Get rid of that. That is directly poison. And then also like don't microwave in anything plastic. Don't drink out of any plastic cups. Get rid of anything that goes into you that's plastic. And then you also want to basically get rid of all your clothing that isn't natural, like cotton or linen. Those are basically the only two fibers you should be wearing, unless it like anything natural, wear it. Anything that's unrecognizable, like polyethylene, get rid of that stuff. Or poly I'm forgetting the name right now, but it's poly something. Get rid of your polyester shirts and all that stuff, especially your underwear. Throw that all away. It's garbage. You're poisoning yourself every time you sweat. It's opening your pores, and it's just absorbing these tiny plastic fragments from your clothes. And so now we've actually found ways to actually detox PFAs. Now we're going into the PFA section. That we've actually found ways to detox them by 50% in like a couple of hours, which is absolutely insane. We found that certain strains of bacteria, like Bacteroides uniformis, E. coli, and Streptococcus, that, by the way, that E. coli and Streptococcus aren't the poisonous kind, the disease kind. They're actually like thousands of strains, and only like one or two are actually bad for you. The other ones are like inert and actually help you and are naturally in your gut. Anyways, those strains of E. coli, Streptococcus, and Bacteroides uniformis actually help reduce PFAs by 50% in like a couple of hours, which is crazy. Absolutely insane. So make sure you're supporting your gut health. Absolutely. Obviously, I don't think that anybody's going to make a probiotic out of that stuff because, like, who wants to take an E. coli probiotic? But yeah, you can support your gut health, and that'll do the same for that. And so then, finally, for all my sick people out there, my autoimmune people, we found that microplastics and PFAs actually increase ROS significantly, or reactive oxygen species. That just means oxidative stress. It's just the fancy scientific term. So it flips on these ROS, and that is directly linked to autoimmune disease. It flips on NFKB, which is the master inflammation controller. And then NFKB actually tells your body to release cytokines, which are highly, like I'm talking extremely highly, like directly linked to autoimmune disease. So if you can actually get those down by detoxing your microplastics, you can take a big chunk out of how much you're poisoning yourself, or how much damage you feel. And so yeah, and so this is actually really important because NFKB was found to be overreactive in nearly all rheumatoid arthritis synovial tissue studies, over 90% in some studies. And so then you have TNF alpha, which is central to RA, so that blocking it can actually cut symptoms by 60 to 70%. This is the cytokine that's actually the drugs like Humira and stuff are prescribed to. But if you can actually detox it naturally to some degree, you might be able to reduce how much you take, or even go off of it like I have. And it also blocks matrix metalloproteinases, or MMPs. And so these are enzymes that actually digest your cartilage and bone. And in RA patients, MMP levels have been found to be 3 to 5 times higher than that of normal healthy people. And so if we detox these plastics, it could have it could bite a big chunk out of how much inflammation you feel. And so this is directly lined up. This is actually crazy. In rheumatoid arthritis mouse studies, where they had mice with rheumatoid arthritis, sulforaphane actually reduced joint swelling, cartilage damage, and immune overreaction just with sulforaphane. So if you could start taking this stuff, you're gonna feel a lot better with your autoimmune disease. It's just like you got to watch out for the Herxheimer reactions, because you will feel worse first of all, and that's just a sign you need to do some more detoxing first with just like the normal binder stuff and clearing out your liver. Except, of course, you aren't going to hear about this from any drug companies, because they don't want their billion-dollar industry disrupted. So basically, in recap, microplastics and PFAs are everywhere, every cell of your body, and for years, detox has just been sweating, but sulforaphane actually directly helps decrease inflammation, turns on your antioxidants, and actually helps dump out your microplastics from your lysosomes. And when you're doing this detox, you want to pair it with soluble fiber, and working on all your detox pathways, your liver, your gallbladder, and your cells, which you should watch my last video to figure out how to do that. And you want to limit your exposure from your water, your drink, your air pollution, and your clothes. And you want to cycle your sulforaphane. Don't just do it all the time, because you don't want to give yourself cancer. So yeah. See you in the next video, and God bless.